Hello everyone, my name is Tejasri Tadipamula. I'm currently pursuing a PhD program at Alabama A&M University, and I'm here to present you about addressing food waste in the modern food industry. This is the outline of my presentation: introduction, the global food waste statistics, stages, and the environmental and economic impacts, and some of the potential solutions of the food waste, and finally to conclusion. So, to introduce, the food industry is essentially for sustaining human life. However, it encounters numerous challenges that threaten its efficiency, sustainability, and profitability. So, among these challenges, food waste is particularly significant and increasingly relevant. So, what is a food waste? It refers to the loss of edible food at various points along the supply chain from agriculture production to the consumer consumption, that is, from the farm to the table. So, what are we actually wasting? It includes the meat products, as you can see here, the meat products, fruits and vegetables, grains, root tubers, and oil seeds, and some of the other things. So, majority of the wastage is from fruits and vegetables, the things which we eat, most of them. So, what is the statistics of the global food waste? According to the Food and Agriculture Organization, approximately one third of all food produced globally is wasted, which is nearly to 1.3 billion tons annually. Moving to the stages of the food waste, which include four stages, that is the production, from the production to harvesting, processing and packaging further, retail and distribution, and at the consumer level. So, what is production and harvesting? So, during processing, uh, okay, we'll first move to the processing and packaging. So the common issues faced are improper storage, contamination, and inefficiency, which leads to food waste. And at the retail and distribution practices, they also contribute to some supermarkets, which often discard large volumes of foods due to their aesthetic standards, the food safety standards, and the concerns regarding the expiration of the dates on the products. And at the consumer level, food waste results from overpurchasing, inadequate storage practices, and the misconceptions regarding the expiration dates. Moving to the environmental and economic impacts. So, some of the consequences of the food waste are extensive and affect various sectors, such as affecting the environmental sector by the greenhouse gas emissions. Those are nothing but the decomposition of food in the landfills produces the gas, which is called the methane gas, which is a potent greenhouse gas. And the resource wastage, which comes from water, land, and energy. Some of the wasted food signifies wasted resources, and which includes water, land, and energy employed in its production. For the financial loss, which comes under the economic impacts, however, the vast quantities of food are discarded, and millions of individuals across the globe endure food insecurity. As the food is being wasted in large amounts, so the majority of the population faces the food insecurity. So, mitigating food waste could help address this disparity and improve the global distribution of the food. Moving to the potential solutions to the food waste, it has four solutions with an improved supply chain management, better storage and preservation methods, consumer awareness and education, food donation and redistribution, policy and legislative measures. So, coming to the potential solutions, it is a multifaceted approach which incorporating technological advancements, consumer education, and policy reforms. So, moving to the first one, improved supply chain management. So, by this approach, we can actually enable manufacturers to produce only the required amount of food, thereby limiting the surplus that may ultimately go to waste. And by the better storage and preservation methods, we can actually provide some good storage and preservation methods even for the population who can actually store the food in their own houses by investing in advanced refrigeration and packaging technologies, where the food industry has to concentrate on the packaging technologies, which can prolong the shelf life of perishable goods. And also the innovations of the smart packaging. Smart packaging includes the modified atmospheric packaging or some products which can be incorporated into the packaging material, which extends the shelf life of the packaging material of the food product. And for the consumer awareness and education, which initiatives the promoting ugly produce, which encourages the consumption of the imperfect food, which is yet edible, such as fruits and vegetables, which are actually imperfect, like they are called as ugly produce, which are not which most of the population or most of the individuals do not prefer to consume, but it is actually an edible food which can be consumed. And for the food donation and redistribution, some of the applications under the food donation and redistribution include the Too Good to Go and the Oleo Connect consumers with surplus food from retailers at reduced prices. And some of the policy and the legislative measures include the regulations which are concerning the food labeling that can deter the premature disposal of the food that is still safe for consumption. So, to conclude, food waste is a global crisis with environmental, economic, and social impacts. As we have earlier discussed, the environmental and the economic impacts on the global. And solving it requires a holistic approach, such as the important solutions for the food waste, the better supply chains, consumer education, policy change, and technological advancements. However, the food scientists play a key role by developing preservation technologies, storage technologies, and the upcycled products and sustainable uses for food byproducts. And the research alternative uses for food waste, such as the animal feed, biofuels, or the compost, to reduce the environmental burden. Such as you can see in the picture, which is on the right side of the slide, where the food waste recycling, where the food from the table goes to the waste as it is not um, more assumed to be it is not preferable for the consumption, and the food waste can further be used as a compost for the plant growth. So the last point indicates that the research alternative uses for the food waste, such as the animal feed or the biofuels or the compost, it can reduce the environmental burden by not wasting the food but utilizing them in another ways of for the plants. That is something but the uh, integration, integrity, or yeah, these are my references. The fight against the food waste isn't just a sustainability goal. So it is actually a scientific, ethical, and global responsibility. Thank you.